Kris Chen is the most documented person on the planet.
I want everything about my house off the internet!
Nearly the entirety of Kris's life has been heavily researched and documented on various websites, from Kiwi Farms to the CWC dedicated Wikipedia page titled The Quickie, and has become a popular topic of discussion for nearly 2 decades. We all know who Kris Chen is. I'm just putting myself to sleep trying to pad out the runtime. Ad break. She has literally been on national television more than once, and for tangentially related reasons. She went trending on Twitter for multiple days, which holds less and less significance as time goes on due to a certain billionaire redditor somehow making the site worse and worse, which I straight up didn't think was possible. Gino Samuel has over 50 hours of content on Kris's entire life and still isn't properly finished. But after doing research on Kris, I can say for certain that she is a victim of circumstance. Both of her parents were over the age of 40 and incredibly conservative, not knowing how to properly deal with their autistic child. They were both incredibly neglectful, leaving Kris for hours at a time with a terrible babysitter who delayed Kris's growth further. Her mother was an emotionally manipulative hoarder who babied Kris and gave her a lot of the entitlement issues she suffers from now. And while her father did try and instill a lot of very important lessons into her, he also gave up by the time Kris finished high school. They also gave Kris unmonitored internet access, letting her get relentlessly bullied by trolls for years, which only further warped her perception of the real world. Kris's life could have been drastically different if 1 or 2 things had changed, but everything seemed to fall into place near perfectly to create the monster we have now in 2024. Let's go back to 2009 for a second though. At this point, things weren't looking as bleak as they do now, and trolling Kris wasn't universally frowned on yet. And while I think even the stuff from this point was going way too far, there is one aspect of Kris Chen trolling I will defend because there was an actual point to it all, even if the people doing it got lost along the way. Liquid Kris, the light to Kris Chen's darkness, the millennial doing something productive with his life to the incest girl, Chad to Virgin Cuck, Project 06 to Sonic 06, the complete opposite of Kris Chen, but he wouldn't exist without her. This faker, or imposter if you will, copied all of Kris's mannerisms and quirks, using pillows to inflate his size, a paper medallion, and a brown striped shirt that would become infamous. Parodies like this aren't very common, however. Normally, a parodied version of something would be worse or a flanderized version of the original. But because Kris is already such a waste of space with no redeeming qualities, the troll Christopher Duckworth put a new spin on the faker concept by being a strict improvement on the original. Kris at the time believed that she was an amazing musician due to songs like So Need a Cute Girl, a talented artist because of her wonderful comic Sonic Chew, and an unstoppable testament to human might because she could lift a box of Minute Maid lemonade. To be honest, the most misleading thing about this paragraph is the start of it. At the time, buddy, she thinks she's the reincarnation of Jesus hecking Christ. Liquid Kris was all of that, but for real. Yes, including the God part. The names Solid and Liquid Kris obviously coming from Metal Gear Solid, and what I'll be referring to each of these characters from here on out, so my brain doesn't literally explode. But now that I've explained the basic concept of Liquid Kris, I think it's time to restart the video. But before that, look at these numbers. Aren't they just pathetic? Hi, I'm Bored Oranges, wannabe millionaire and part-time influencer. Sorry, I gagged. I want to hit 100k before I die of old age, and you can help by hitting subscribe. Only about 20% of the people who watch my videos are, so if you like my content and find yourself coming back, then hit subscribe. It has a cool little rainbow effect every time I say it now. Subscribe. Subscribe. I have a Discord, we host bi-weekly events, and the members are just the nicest community of people. I have a Twitter and Instagram, which you should check out if you want to see my unhinged posting. And if you're feeling generous, you could give me your money. My legal team has informed me that that last sentence might give the wrong impression. Channel memberships give you all the benefits listed on screen, so do that if you have money to spare. I really need to buy a third Nintendo Switch. Anyway, back to the video. C-chan Sonichu Quick is a personal inspiration for me. He has been very open about his life in interviews, giving us a lot of introspection into his hard upbringing, with 2 absentee parents and the trials of growing up with autism in the 90s. Despite that, however, he has managed to gain worldwide success for his critically acclaimed comic book and video game franchise, The Adventures of Sonichu. Recently, we got Sonichu and Smash Ultimate as the final super duper secret DLC character. I can't spend the entire time just talking about what he'd done for the gaming industry, because he has also been a huge help for people in the medical industry as well. He'd done it all. He's had massive live performances with some of the biggest musicians in the world, including Michael Jackson somehow. However, a part of his history that is very underdocumented is when this fat nerd tried to take his identity. Ian Brandon Anderson. Originally starting out his Solid impression as a way to amuse some of his friends, Liquid became intertwined with trolling Solid because the head trolls at the time thought it would be a good way to get a small rise out of Solid, who at the time was just taken off of YouTube for telling her trolls to off themselves. Liquid's account had been inactive for a bit, but struck at this opportunity that had just come around due to Solid's sheer incompetence. His first return video was denouncing those wicked trolls who got his channel banned. He then posted a few parody videos of some of the more popular Solid videos at the time.
You know, as the original and true Christian Weston Chandler, I get trolled a lot. You know, I've been trolled. You know, they just make me do things that yeah. So regardless of all that, you know, the word gay is thrown around a lot, you know, and maybe in an inappropriate way. So I'm just here to tell you that I have a lot of respect for the those of the other or same, I should say, persuasion. I'm gay. I'm a gay being.
Eventually, Solid did discover Liquid after ignoring him for months. What could have possibly provoked Solid enough for her to finally acknowledge what was clearly the most obvious troll attempt she had seen at this point? Well, it was her deeply unhealthy obsession with her Sonic recolor, Sonichu, which deserves its own video in the future because of how straight up insane those comics are. But anyway, the thing that set Solid off was Liquid claiming to be selling true and honest Sonichu merch, which Solid could not stand for. How dare this imposter in brown steal a stolen character! This led to the first message Solid would send to Liquid, which would then start the first Chris Civil War. Do not buy from this imposter! Also, hang on. He is a crappy and his nasal voice is just downright awful. Also, if I wanted to buy paper, I'd go to Walmart and buy 500 full 8.5 by 11 sheets for about $5. His church? He must live in frickin' Ohio with Julie. Never drives greater than 7 hours just to even visit Wesley Memorial in Virginia. Fuck him to hell. Despite being, as I said previously, the most obvious troll ever, the mere thought of someone selling Sonichu merch made Solid turn off all of her logical thinking and start frothing at the mouth, genuinely believing someone wanted to steal her identity and assets. Hey dumbass, you wish you were me. I would say you are stuck in -2nd gear. I am calling you out. That's her docs. Before August 2nd, 2009, if you really want to be me, then come face me. Oh, by the way, your nasal voice is more grating than the word naive and the metal nails on the chalkboard. But naive is worse than nails. You are a nerd and a wimp. Have a good day. Christopher Christian Weston Chandler. Keep in mind that the person saying this lives in a hoarder's house that they never leave. Her room specifically is filled to the brim with games which she bought via her disability checks instead of using it on literally anything else. The only thing she even technically owns is a crappy Sonic recolor and a car called Sonchu. Outside of the car, I don't think anyone would want your life. If someone wanted to steal your identity, it would have been for the $800 and nothing else. With this response, Liquid would dedicate the rest of the summer to destroying everything that Solid stood for. It all started when Solid posted a cover of More Than a Feeling to YouTube. I use the word cover as loosely as possible because Solid's interpretation of this was just yelling her own lyrics over an existing song and then just praying. This was also on Guitar Hero for some odd reason. Liquid then went band for band by getting his twin brother to perform the song on a real guitar and in tune. As a response, Solid made videos claiming Liquid couldn't be the real Chris Chan because he couldn't speak Spanish. Liquid then made a video speaking Spanish, German, Japanese, look, you get the point. Solid was getting crushed in every single way. Liquid even started using the Sonichu Riz to pull some, okay, I'm never speaking again. Someone doing something like this did happen very early on, and Solid didn't get anywhere near as pissed as she was getting throughout this entire saga. The reason I think Solid lost her shit so quickly is because the simple existence of Liquid Quiz, good job, dismantled the fraudulent mental image she created for herself. Like I said before, Solid thought she was amazing. Liquid was amazing. It's a bad sign when you're fighting a mirror, and worse when the mirror is winning. Worse still if it's a funhouse mirror made especially to mock you. Liquid proved to Solid that the claims that she was a weird nerd who was rotting in her room weren't just lies spread by trolls, but the unfortunate truth. And by now we should know how much Solid wanted to avoid the truth. Maybe that's why she tried to steal Liquid Chris's girl. Small sidebar, but one of Liquid's supporters was a girl called Casey, who the troll behind Liquid was actually dating. Normally, people would try and keep work and home life separate, but he didn't care. Solid genuinely believed that she was entitled to Casey because she was the true and honest CWC. And because of this, in Solid's incredibly warped mind, she thought the best move was to attempt to catfish Casey into sleeping with her, which went about as well as expected. I guess Solid really thought that the two looked alike, which is... Yeah, I see the resemblance. Casey kept up this act that Solid actually had a chance to make her actually do something with her life that would allow Solid to move out of her parents' house and pursue Sonichu as something else. Lose weight, which had become a topic of 2 videos now. That's weird, and just get out of the house more and live life. None of this happened, and the only thing that changed was Solid trying to give the least amount of effort possible while still getting the girl. Before I get distracted talking about this fake friendship, The stuff that was going on publicly was the SingStar Challenge. Solid attempted to prove that she was the real and honest Chris Chan with a battle of songs that heavily favored her with the rule set, such as no instruments and no singing in tune. Okay, I made the last one up, but you get the point. This 3 stages of hell match was pretty complicated, but all that really needed to be known is Solid rigged the rules. But every judge on board was a troll, and thus Liquid won, making him the true and honest Chris Chan. The SingStar Challenge was never to verify who was the real Christian Weston Chandler, because everyone on the internet knows that I am. He's the imposter. They should quit encouraging him, and I wish he would stop being so I wish he would stop being so stupid. Damn dirty game. I don't know what the heck is wrong with his head. He ain't right. He don't even let me get a word in edgewise. He just keeps going on and on and on and on. It's worse than my father. You know, I've had secondhand embarrassment before, but never to this level. This competition was so rigged that the dudes at Mojang were straight crying, realizing they could do the same thing around 11 years later. Along with this win, Liquid announced that he would be leaving the internet, something Solid could never do, to pursue a career in game development at Microsoft. He was also marrying Casey. This sent Solid into such a rage that another video would drop on both Chris's channels. On Solid's, more of the same yelling, and on Liquid's,
Captain's log, stardate August 13th, 2009. Tell them your name.
Christian Weston Chandler.
Are you the real Chris Chan?
Yes.
No!
Yes.
No!
Yes.
Then why do you dress up like him?
It's a symbol so we don't have to be afraid of scum like you, Ian.
Oh, you do, Christian. You really do. Huh? Yeah. Oh, shh. You think you've made Quickville a better place? Look at me.
Look at me!
You see, this is how kicking me in the balls works out. I would tell you right now I was coming for you. And now, since I finally have you, I'm gonna give you that piece of my mind I told you about there. Peace, Christian Weston Chandler.
After this video, there was such a dramatic shift in the timeline that I need to start calling the rest of this video Timeline B&a-half. Liquid would return, explaining where he had been all this time. Firstly, explaining what happened at the end of the kidnapping video, which I was just dying to know so I could put it in my PowerPoint presentation. He would also now explain that there was now a fierce love triangle between himself, Solid, and Casey. Oh wow. Things are getting spicy. Because Solid now thought she had a chance again, she began to apply the sexual harassment riz. No, seriously. Along with that, she made a comic where she had a run-in with Liquid and shot him in the leg, which goes against all of my power scaling knowledge. Liquid Chris is at least 3 times faster than bullets, and his skin is as hard as 2 times bulletproof vests, meaning this issue isn't canon at all. Can't be. New continuity. Casey wasn't exactly impressed of how little effort Solid was putting into Schrodinger's relationship. So the two of them actually had a phone call with Casey's pretend dad, who was also voiced by Liquid Chris apparently? The range on that guy, oh my god. This call is pretty long, so I will just play some of my favorite bits. A lot of this call was Casey's father pointing out every single issue that exists in Chris's life, and this is where this saga would end. The irony of it all is that Solid couldn't see the point of any of this trolling, which was to deflate that massive ego of hers. Solid basically continued as normal after Casey stopped communications. Casey had warned Solid that something needed to change or it would be be a miracle for her to live past 40. And if you're watching this video, then you should know she didn't heed that warning. After having to change his name to avoid confusion with CWC, Christopher Duckworth went out to become a doctor. His twin brother making song covers on his own channel. Casey is still with Sliquid. And what was the imposter doing? Oh no. Thanks for watching the video. I don't know why I'd like voice crack at the end of these now. This one isn't anywhere near as long as the other crap I've been posting this year. And while I was a bit upset at that, I realized I literally couldn't pad out this video, so whatever. I'm probably doing something in my server right now, or like streaming, depending on when this video goes up. I have no clue. Hopefully I'm on stream too, where I'm doing something, and I didn't immediately quit after failing streaming once. I've been swamped with work, but I'm slowly making it through and stuff, which is exactly how I wrote it in the script for some reason. Anyway, I want to give a super extra special thanks to my channel members at the time of recording: Sabin, The Wolf Drake, Hobby Yellow, Levi, Nate Rassman, Israfel's Fire, King Johnny TH445, Ant, Pwep, Nakocho Official, Grizzly Ben 1996, and Kinda Snowy. You guys are epic sauce. I don't have any more announcements or trauma to vent, so I'd like to end the video here. Have a great day. See ya, lads.